Let's start with a hard truth most people don't want to hear. Getting wealthy is not complicated. People like to pretend it is. They talk about it like it's some rare formula, like only certain people were born with access to it, like there is some hidden knowledge locked inside elite circles that never reaches ordinary people. But that story is not true, and someone benefits from you believing it is. Wealth doesn't require genius. It doesn't require a perfect starting point. It doesn't require connections you don't have or capital you were never given. What it requires is something most people never receive, a clear understanding of how the game actually works. Not the version you were taught, not the version that sounds responsible and safe, the real version. Because here is what almost nobody says directly. There are two completely different games being played with money, right now, simultaneously, and the rules of one are nothing like the rules of the other. Most people spend their entire lives playing one of those games, working hard inside it, saving carefully inside it, doing everything right inside it, and wondering why the results never match the effort. The answer is not that they played badly. The answer is that they never knew there was a second game. French economist Thomas Piketty spent decades analyzing wealth data from over 20 countries, 200 years of economic history. His conclusion was precise and deeply uncomfortable. The return on capital has consistently outpaced the return on labor. In plain language, money that owns things grows faster than people who work for things, not occasionally, not in exceptional circumstances, historically, systematically, across generations and economies. What does that mean for your life? It means the game has two sides, and they operate by completely different mathematics. Game one is the income game. You work, money appears. You stop working, money stops. The math is linear. 1 hour of effort produces 1 unit of pay. You want more, you work more. The ceiling is fixed, because time is fixed, and your income is directly attached to your time. Game two is the asset game. You build something, or buy something, or create something, and that thing generates value whether you are present or not. The math is exponential. One asset can produce returns while you sleep, while you are sick, while you are doing something else entirely. Same world, same economy, same opportunities. Two completely different equations. Here is the part that matters most. Nobody sits you down and explains that these two games exist. You are handed the rules of game one from the moment you enter school. Study hard, get a good job, work your way up, save what you can, hope it adds up. Those rules are not wrong, they are just incomplete. They are the rules of a game designed to produce reliable workers, not independent wealth builders. And the moment you understand that distinction, everything looks different. Think about someone you know who does everything right, shows up every day, gets the raises, builds the savings account slowly, makes responsible decisions, and 10 years later is still one bad month away from financial stress. Not because they failed, because they played the wrong game perfectly. Now think about someone else. Same city, same starting salary, same opportunities. 10 years later, their money generates income while they sleep. Not because they worked harder, because at some point they understood something the first person never did. The game has two versions, and they chose the second one. Here is what game one looks like 10 years in. You are earning more than when you started. You are better at your job. You have built a life that looks stable from the outside. And somehow, you never feel ahead. Every raise gets absorbed. Every upgrade feels necessary. The number in your account moves, but the ceiling moves with it, because the ceiling was never about the amount. It was always about the attachment to your time. Game two looks different at the same 10-year mark. The person who moved toward assets early is earning from directions that don't require their presence. The index fund that started small is larger. The digital product built on a weekend still sells. The skill invested in years ago commands a premium the market keeps paying. Same 10 years, completely different math. Here is what moves someone from the first version to the second. Not a breakthrough moment, not a windfall, not a connection they were lucky enough to have. A question: which side of this transaction am I on? Every financial transaction has two sides. One side transfers value, the other accumulates it. When you pay for a streaming subscription, you are on the transfer side. The platform is on the accumulation side. When you buy a course, transfer side. The person who built it once and sold it 10,000 times, accumulation side. When you pay rent, transfer side. The landlord, accumulation side. This is not a moral judgment. It is a description of how value flows, and most people spend their entire lives on the transfer side without ever realizing the accumulation side was available to them. Own. Moving toward the accumulation side does not require a company. It does not require capital you don't have. It requires understanding that the internet permanently changed which side is accessible. A digital product created once and sold repeatedly. Content that generates revenue long after it was made. A fractional position in assets that compound indefinitely. The accumulation side of the economy has never been more accessible. Most people walk past the door every day because they were only ever taught to look for a paycheck. Control. Your employer controls the price of your time, not you. They decide what an hour of your effort is worth. They set the ceiling, they adjust the floor, and no matter how exceptional you become inside that structure, you are negotiating within their parameters, not your own. This is not about hating your job. This is about understanding a mathematical reality. When someone else controls the price of what you sell, they control your ceiling. Control means building something, anything, where you set the price, where exceptional performance compounds directly into your income instead of into someone else's margin. Multiply, not just compound interest. Velocity. Imagine two people with the same $20,000. One puts it in a savings account. It earns 2%. That money works once per year. The other splits it deliberately, part into an index fund growing passively, part into a skill that permanently increases earning capacity, part into a small digital asset generating monthly income, same $20,000. Completely different velocity. The question is not just how much your money earns. It is how many directions it works simultaneously. That is what multiply actually means. Not a bigger number, a faster one. Here is the part most people never reach. Understanding the two games exists. Knowing the principles exists. And still not moving. Not because of laziness, not because of lack of information, because of something that operates much deeper than information. In the 1970s, psychologist Daniel Kahneman discovered something that permanently changed how scientists understand human decision-making. Losses feel psychologically twice as powerful as equivalent gains. Losing $100 hurts roughly twice as much as gaining $100 feels good. This is not weakness. It is how the human brain was built. In an environment where loss meant death, extreme sensitivity to loss was survival. In a modern financial environment, it quietly keeps people in game one forever. Here is what that looks like in practice. You stay in a job you have outgrown because leaving feels like losing security. You keep money in a savings account earning almost nothing because moving it feels like risking what you have. You avoid building something of your own because failure feels more real than success. You play to not lose, and playing to not lose mathematically guarantees one outcome: median results. Forever. The second game does not require recklessness. It requires something more precise: the ability to distinguish between two types of risk that loss aversion makes feel identical. Reckless risk, everything on one outcome with no fallback, genuinely dangerous. Asymmetric risk, a calculated exposure where the downside is limited and defined, and the upside is disproportionately large. A skill that costs $200 to learn and could increase your income for decades. Asymmetric, a digital product that takes a weekend to build and could generate income for years. Asymmetric. Loss aversion says both of these feel like gambling. The second game says both of these are the most rational moves available. When you begin moving from game one to game two, something predictable happens. The people around you notice, and not everyone responds with enthusiasm. Some will say you changed. Some will question why you are spending time building something instead of relaxing. Some will remind you of everyone they know who tried something and failed. This is not malice. It is something more interesting than malice. When you change the game you are playing, you unintentionally make visible the game everyone else is still playing. Your decision to move toward ownership is an implicit reminder that ownership was always an option. Your decision to build an asset is an implicit reminder that assets were always buildable. Most people are not ready to sit with that reminder. So the discomfort gets redirected at you. The resistance is not a signal that you are wrong. It is a signal that something has actually changed. You do not need their approval to change games. You do not need to convince them. You do not need to defend the decision. You do not need to wait until they understand. You need one thing: to stay in the second game long enough for the math to become undeniable. Because the math always becomes undeniable. Eventually, the people who question the decision will still be playing game one when the results arrive. And results do not require explanation. Let's name what you have seen. 2 games. One built around income, linear, time-dependent, capped by hours. One built around assets, exponential, time-independent, uncapped by design. Most people play Game 1 their entire lives, not because Game 2 is inaccessible. Because nobody showed them it existed. Own, moving toward the accumulation side of transactions. The internet made this available to anyone with a specific skill and a connection. Control, setting the price of what you sell instead of negotiating inside someone else's parameters. Multiply, not just how much your money earns, how many directions it works simultaneously. Loss aversion, the psychological force keeping intelligent people in Game 1. The mechanism that makes asymmetric risk feel identical to reckless risk. The feeling that is costing more than any bad investment ever could. And the resistance, not an obstacle. The confirmation, the environment pushes back when something real has changed. One important note: nothing in this video is financial advice. What you have heard is a framework for thinking, not a prescription for your situation. Before making any financial decision, speak with a qualified professional who understands your actual numbers. The map is here. The navigation is yours. Here is the only question that matters right now. Which side of the transaction are you on? Not in theory, not someday. Today. Write it in the comments. Not your opinion of the video. Something more useful than that. Write which game you are currently playing, and one specific thing, not a vague intention, one concrete thing you are going to do this week to move toward the other side. That comment is not for this channel. It is the moment the second game begins. The door has always been there. Now you can see it and see